if you're watching this, you probably to some degree have suffered from burnout, which has inhibited your ability to produce results over a sustained period of time. Look, guys, what I've learned is that burnout isn't from doing something over and over for a long period of time, because I know so many entrepreneurs, so many great salespeople that never get burnt out, that work 2 to 3 times more doing stuff that is more boring than what you might be doing. So if they don't get burnt out, why do some of us, or why do you get burned out? Look, we're gonna be covering what causes burnout, why it happens, okay? And breaking down the psychology behind that. And then we're also gonna be shifting and focusing on how to overcome it, how to stop burnout, and how to actually prevent it. So if you guys don't know me, my name is Nascimento, and I have made millions of dollars in commissions selling solar, pest control, coaching. And look, I've built a company and scaled my processes. And what I've learned is that you can replicate success. And so this mindset of overcoming burnout, guys, it is something that you can completely eradicate. So what we're gonna be covering here is first, why it happens. So the first thing I wanna jump into right off the bat is you don't burn out from what you do. You burn out because you forget why you do it. And more importantly, who you're becoming in the process. Nick, how do I get a bigger purpose? Think long-term. I've learned this from Tony Robbins. Great and successful people, whether they're entrepreneurs, athletes, salespeople, they have the ability to think very big. Now, most people have this ability to think big, but very few have the ability to reverse engineer down to the micro actions, the bite-sized chunks of action that you can take on a daily basis, on an hourly basis, and how that's gonna get you to that longer vision. You see, some people, whether they're knocking doors or cold calling, some are thinking about the monotony, the no's, the rejection, the heartache, the pain, the suffering, while others are thinking, this is getting me closer to my dream. And how much adversity you can go through will be largely dependent on your ability to think about where you are going. The second problem, guys, is you are not emotionally connected to the outcome. And the problem is so many salespeople get focused on the transactional side, the money made, the sales made, which is great. That will propel a lot of success. But what I've learned is if you can shift your mindset from transactional and shift it to a transformational mindset of who are you becoming and how are you impacting and serving other people. The third reason is the lack of progress and growth. One of the 6 human needs that Tony Robbins has discovered, we all have, is growth. If we don't see growth personally in our income, in our personal development, in the amount of time that we have, in our leadership, we are going to get bored. And people do one of 2 things. They turn to vices and addictions, or they change jobs. Reason number 4 is they are chasing the prize, not the process. So great salespeople they get results, they sell, but their focus is actually the inputs that it takes to get there. Where very weak salespeople, all they're thinking is, I haven't gotten a sale this week. Think of that big target, reverse engineer into daily KPIs, daily actions, whether it's cold calls, doors knocked, hours worked. Then you need to be disciplined to hit those numbers and delay gratification over a long extended period of time. Reason number 5 is you are misaligned with your environment. This could be the wrong team, it could be the wrong company, it could be a toxic culture, but who you're around is critical. You might be a go-getter surrounded with a bunch of peasant-minded people who are not hungry, not ambitious. I learned there's a lot of vain, ambitious people. They have ambition, but they have no work ethic. They're very lazy. Those are the worst people to be around. You might be in an area, in a team or a company that has low standards, and you might be craving something with higher standards. That will usually cause people to burn out. The 6th reason, I see this all the time, is living reactively, not proactively. And this happens to actually usually successful salespeople because they get so bogged down with recruiting meetings, sales appointments. They're just go, one thing after the other. And before you know it, they don't feel like they're controlling or on top of their day. Number 7 is the identity conflict, guys. This is when how you are living doesn't align with who you want to become. And a lot of this stems back to who you're around, the team, the company, the environment. It's so important that you surround yourself with high-level people, not just that make lots of money, but that have what you want outside of the professional side. How's their relationship? How do they handle themselves emotionally? How do they handle their health? Is that what you want? It's important that you look at those things because you become who you are surrounded with. So one of the fastest ways you can change your results is by changing your environment. So with that, let's jump right into how to actually prevent burnout. So there's 5 shifts you guys need to make. We're gonna be talking about All 5 of them. The first shift, this is one of the most important. The final shift is the most important, but this is shifting from what you're trying to do, how many sales, how much money you're gonna make, to why you are doing that. What do you mean by that, Nick? And it's so vague to just say, hey guys, get a bigger why. Your why will be discovered as you go through more pain, more adversity that God gives you, and as you discipline yourself more, and as you take more action, that purpose will be clear. And one thing I want to challenge you guys that has nothing to do with sales, but everything to do with sales, is every person on this planet has demons. They have trauma. They have addictions. Stop running from it. Face it head on. What you avoid controls you. When you can look it head on, face it, admit it's a problem, you are now at step 1 of overcoming something massive in your life. And that will have a ripple effect. What does it have to do with sales? It has part to do with your purpose, which is that fuel to help you execute more. Because if you can create change for yourself, you can empower more people, AKA selling, to change. It allows you to recruit other salespeople. You become more attractive. So you need a compelling why. You need a bigger purpose. And what I've discovered is if your purpose, there's 4 levels of purpose. It starts with survival, just like pay bills, pay rent. Then there's status. Status is, having a nice car, having a nice house, just feeling like you got a lot of money. Then there's freedom, the 3rd level of why, and that's freedom to do what you want, where you want, with who you want. This drives a lot of the great salespeople. Now, the greatest salespeople, these become almost always sales leaders. The people that have the skill set, have the discipline, and they have this driving them. It's purpose. Purpose stems from something bigger than you. It's an impact that's not just you and your family, it's something much bigger. I love seeing the transformation I've seen in my life, and that gets me on a mission to make videos like this, to go build a company, to create a podcast, and to be the best version of myself physically, the best dad I can be. And I want to empower other men to do the same, overcome addictions, have great sales success, transform your physique. So you guys need to find that for you. And what's cool is you're different than me. And that's the beauty, is you can relate to people that I can't relate to. I can't relate a ton to drug addicts. You might be able to. I'm not saying you guys are drug addicts, but you know what I mean. I can relate to guys who suffer from pornography, who've been through divorce, who used to be workaholics or are workaholics. I can relate to dads. You have your own story. You need to tap into that. Your shit in the right lens is actually fertilizer that's going to catapult and grow your career. Shift number 2 is shift from prize-focused, sales-focused, money-focused to process-focused. What does it take to get that result? And you divorce the prize and you marry the process. Let me put this in perspective. When I was making $200,000 a month selling solar as I started my company, I was so married to the process that literally on the days I was making $30,000 in sales coming home, I was getting hard on myself because I didn't knock enough doors and hit my input targets that I know would lead to higher output targets on the next day or 2. I was so married to the process, guys, that on a day I made $30,000, I was beating myself up. That's how you have to think, and that is what will cause more success. The reason this is important is because the price targets are sometimes uncontrollable, but when you focus on what is 100% in your control, look, I know selling people is somewhat in your control, but you can't force people to buy. Nobody has 100% close rate. So what can you control, and focus on those things? You can control how many hours you train per day. You can control how you get shadowed, how you get mentored. You can control what you read, what you listen to. You can control how many doors you knock, how many cold calls you make. Focus on that, and that will actually reduce anxiety, drive you to take more action, and create momentum to get you more results. Shift number 3, this is massive, and it's shifting from task-focused and accomplishment-focused to target-focused. Because you're doing lots of things, accomplishing one thing after the other, doesn't mean you're being productive. Unsuccessful people are always busy. Successful people are always busy. So how come some have success and others don't? It's their level of prioritization. Tasks don't move you much further. Tasks don't get you closer to a goal. They're just things you got to get done. Some of those things you can delegate and hire other people to do. Targets are big things. Sell a certain amount of accounts, make a certain amount of money, gain a certain amount of weight, lose a certain amount of weight, buy a certain amount of investment properties. Those are bigger targets. You need to be laser focused on those big targets, write them down, not just every month or every year, but every single day. Great salespeople are laser focused on their targets so much that they've broken those down into micro chunks of their day. They know in that day, in that 1 hour time slot, they need to hit a certain amount of input targets in order to get that result that they need. One day is going to get them the result the next day, the next week, and that next week of results is going to get them the results they want over the next month. Fast forward 3 months down the road, this guy's driving a Lamborghini, making hundreds of thousands per month, and you're saying, how's he doing it? This is the secret. Shift number 4, guys, this is critical. It's changing your mindset from sales training to self-development. From how do I do something to who am I becoming? It's so easy to think, oh, I just need the right script. I just need the right thing to say. I just need to shift something with my nonverbal language. That's all true. That's real. It's important. But if you focus on who you're becoming, I promise the self-development transcends the sales development. Tony Robbins himself said, the greatest salespeople are not trained. They are first found and then trained. My theory is because there's years of development that some people go through. And it often includes adversity, discipline, competitive environments like sports, and those people tend to thrive. People who haven't gone through much don't love self-development. They're just kind of complacent. Obviously, you guys know they don't do very well in sales. So you need to shift from like, what's the quick fix with, what course can I buy? What YouTube video can I watch that's going to shift it? Look, success in selling is 20% tactical, AKA what you say, how you say it. 80% of sales success is mindset. That comes from what you put in your brain, what you read, what you listen to, how you're developing, how you're shifting your energy. And as you do hard things, it calluses your mind and getting rejected day after day, it feels like nothing. I remember when I was out making, hundreds of thousands per month and I was going and getting 30 no's a day while I was running multiple meetings per day. And I remember guys thinking like, how do you do that, dude? Isn't that hard? And I'm thinking, dude, you don't know what hard is. I've been through this, and this, And so you have to shift your mindset from how to sell to who are you becoming. And I promise as you focus on that growth, burnout will not affect you. The work empowers you more. Guys, shift number 5 is the most important, and it is going from reactive to proactive. Stephen R. Covey talks about this in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And he says that the number 1 habit of highly successful people, number 1, is the difference between reactive people and proactive people. Okay, reactive people are just going from task to task. They're not intentional about what they are doing. Text messages coming in, DMs coming in, phone calls coming in, they take it. And they may be so damn good at running those meetings or those phone calls, winning people over, getting people to be bought in, selling over the phone, but it's still reactive energy. Proactive means, what am I setting out to do this week? How is that getting me to where I want to go this month? How is that this month getting me to where I want to go next year? How is this year doing these things getting me to who I want to become and the impact and the life I want to live? And then they reverse engineer and then plan out the actions they need to do to get those results. And anything else is noise, including the sales call, including the meeting. It's noise. It's slowing you down from hitting those targets and getting you where you want to go. And remember, if you can shift the focus from what to why and who, I promise you will have so much more success. So I hope this video was impactful for you guys. If it was, please subscribe to the channel for more content like this and share it with a friend or a coworker, someone you know that has suffered from burnout. I'm on a mission. Join me on the mission, guys. Let's help people get bigger results, shift their mindset. As I told you guys, success in selling and in business is 80% mindset, 20% tactics. A lot of people that sell courses that make money on giving you quick fix pills, it's big pharma, crap out there, so much noise, baiting you for the easy fix. Oh, stop cold calling, stop door knocking. It's both skills, work ethic, and mindset. It's all of it. So I love you guys. I hope you have success. Go crush.